Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic. Part 1. Let's start the fanfic. That is all that was going through the mind of a young boy as he ran from villagers. Some of them ninjas, some farmers, shopkeepers, and many other professions that can be found in the Hidden Leaf Village. The only thing each of these people, men and women, had in common was the fact they were all chasing down a 5-year-old child. Naruto was running for his life. He had cuts from kunai and shurikens all over his body, as well as other objects that had been thrown at him. He did not understand why though, he just wanted to come out and enjoy the festival like everyone else. The people always celebrated this day, the day that the Kyuubi was defeated by their great leader, and the day that they lost their greatest hero, the Yondaime Hokage, and his defeat of the nine-tailed demon fox, Kyuubi. That is, the Yondaime sealing the Kyuubi inside of a human child, and dying from the process of doing so. That child was the one who was currently being chased down by the villagers for trying to take part in the festival. The villagers saw this as an insult, the demon child coming to mourn and take part in this festival. So they did what anyone would do to an unwelcome guest, they chased him away and told him to leave. That would have been the end of it, if many of them had not already been drunk from sake, and other forms of alcohol that they enjoy on such occasions. These people decided to take it further, and chase the child down, and make sure he remembered not to come. Some even went to make sure the child would never see another day in his life. This is what brings us to the young Naruto running down alleys and down the streets of the village. He was running for his life, and he had no idea why. The villagers were slowly catching up to him, and he had no idea what to do. He had some luck early on by hiding under a shop cart, but the crazed villagers did not give up their hunt so easily, and found him once again as he crawled out from underneath it. After that he never had the chance to hide again. His only thought was to try to get to, or find someone that could help him. Going back to the orphanage would not help, since he was kicked out as soon as he was able to walk and talk easily. No villager was willing to help him, even if he was just a 5-year-old child. His clothes were barely hanging onto his small frame, with his bones showing from lack of food. His clothes hardly enough to keep him warm in the coming season. His blonde hair was dirty, with specks of dirt all over it, and flying everywhere. His eyes were tearing up from the sadness he felt as he was running, as well as from all of the pain from his cuts, bruises, and a few broken bones. Since he had been kicked out of the orphanage, he has had to fend for himself on the streets. Living off of anything he could find, and use without being beaten. Only able to bath in the rivers and ponds on the outskirts of the village, and eating off of what he could find in the garbage bins and trash cans. To say he had a horrible time so far in his life would be a gross understatement. There, maybe if I can get around the corner I can find a place to hide, thought the young Naruto. As he turned the corner into another side street he saw the last thing he ever wanted to see. Crazed and drunk villagers and leaf ninjas, with all kinds of weapons. No, what do I do now? I can't fight them. Maybe I can get them to leave me alone somehow. Naruto stopped in his tracks looking around. As he was, a ninja came walking up, his hitai was tied around his bicep, and engraved with the symbol of the leaf. He had black hair that fell over his eyes, barely concealing them. He had dark brown eyes, that held a look of pure hatred when they fell on Naruto. He was nearly twice as tall as Naruto, and wore a dark green shirt, with a black vest over it. The vest had pockets from a few scrolls, and space to have a few extra shuriken and kunai to be tucked in. He had on baggy black pants, that reached down to just past his knees. On the right leg was a shuriken holster strapped on just above his knee. On the left leg was another holster, for kunai, and strapped to his mid-thigh. He had his ankles up to the middle of his calf wrapped in bandages, with black ninja sandals on his feet. Naruto knew looking at this man, and the others in the street that his chances of getting out had just vanished like a leaf in the wind. He was still thinking of something to do when the ninja spoke up. Well, you gave us a good chase, but now it is time to end this demon. We will not let you walk around our village any longer. We should have done this after the fourth died. Sadly, the third wouldn't let us. Well, now he isn't here to protect you, and no one else is going to stop us from doing what needs to be done. Naruto was stunned. From the way this person was talking, he got the feeling that they were going to do something far worse than just beat him. No, they wouldn't do that. Would they? Before now, the only thing people would do would beat me until I couldn't move or get up while they were around me. But this man, he makes it sound like they are going to. His thoughts were interrupted here as other villagers started shouting, "Kill the demon. Enough talk, let's kill it." That was when Naruto was sure that he would not be leaving this place alive. As soon as he thought this, they started throwing rocks, knives, daggers, kunai, shuriken, bottles, anything they could at him. Those that were closer to him moved in, and started to punch him in the head, chest, stomach, anywhere they could. Others kicked him in the same areas. It did not take much to finally get him down on the ground. From there they started to stomp on his arms, legs, and the rest of his body. The whole time Naruto was shouting as loud as he could, "Please stop. I didn't do anything wrong. Someone please help." He repeated this over and over. He even continued to do this when he started to cough, and blood flying from his mouth. One of the ninjas in the crowd, tired to the yelling, and worrying that someone might hear, and try to help him, moved forward with a kunai in hand. As he neared Naruto, he placed the kunai to the child's throat and pushed, just barely cutting the vocal cords, and ending his pleas for help. From then on there was only the sound, his gurgling, coming from the boy. This continued for several minutes before a voice behind all the irate people bellowed out in a deep and booming voice, "Hey, what do you think you are doing? He is only a child, and it takes all of you to do this. You call yourselves men and women, let alone shinobi of this village. Get away from him, and leave him alone." While saying this, a man came walking from a small house on the other side of the street, which the name Ichiraku Ramen on the awning in front of it. He was trying to push his way through the crowd of people, and not doing a good job. After catching a glimpse of Naruto down on the ground, he turned towards his shop and yelled, "Ayame, run and get the Hokage, and try to find some help. Run. Hurry. This kid may not last much longer." With that said, his daughter took off in search of the Hokage and help for her father. She ran down the street yelling for help, and calling for the ANBU to come. Back with her father, he still had not made it halfway through the crowd, and was fearing how much longer the young blonde could hold out. He was still fighting through the crazed people when he was hit in the back of his head with some unknown object, and fell to the ground. He landed face first on the ground, and felt the back of his head. Bringing his hand to where he can see it, he saw his own blood. As he tried to stand back up, he was pulled to the back of the crowd and tied up by many of the villagers. Once the villagers were done, they spoke, saying, "You are lucky we don't kill you along with the demon brat there. We got no room in this village for those who would protect the likes of him. Now just sit here and watch as we finally kill that brat." With those last words spoken, they tied a piece of cloth around his mouth to prevent his cries of protest and anger. Back with Naruto, he was barely able to keep his eyes open. They were slowly closing as he lost his grip on any conscious thoughts. The last thing he saw was himself curling up in a fetal position in an attempt to stay alive just a little longer, and lessen the damage being done to him. Finally his vision faded, and he no longer saw the alley crowded with people calling for his death. Instead he found himself in a hallway. Looking around, he noticed pools of water that went up to his ankles. There was very little light for him to see, and many pipes going back and forth down the hall. He was laying in a puddle of water, and wondering where he was when he heard a voice calling him. "Pup, walk down the hall, and follow it. Follow the sound of my voice. Please hurry, we have much to talk about, and very little time to do it. Now stand, and move as fast as you can." After hearing that, Naruto tried to stand, thinking it would be impossible. To his surprise, he was able to stand up, even more so he was able to walk. Discovering this, he hurried down the hall in the direction of the voice. Something about the voice made him feel everything would be okay. His was warm, and sounded worried, and caring at the same time. It almost sounds like the wind blowing through the leaves of the forest. Most of all, the voice made him feel safe, something that he had never known before, even while in the orphanage, where he was bullied, and beaten by the workers and other children. Of course none of the was punished, instead Naruto was punished for what they did, and all the blame of the event placed on him. While thinking this, Naruto came to the end of the hall, and froze in amazement at the sight before him. In front of Naruto was a large cage. The front of the cage was facing Naruto, and was large enough to put the old orphanage he lived in inside of it. The cage doors had a single piece of paper that read, "Seal," on it. Naruto was amazed at where such a thing could come from. As he walked close, he noticed he could hear a soft swishing sound, like a fan or a tail of an animal being moved from side to side. The room had a few torches on the walls, but not enough to show what could be inside of the monstrous cage in front of him. He also noticed that here still were puddles of water, some reaching up to over his ankles, and almost to his calves. He walked through slowly towards the cage. When he was halfway to the cage, the voice from before spoke again to him. "Ah, Naruto, finally you have made it. Please come forward, I have much to tell you, and I fear I may not have much time to do it. To begin, I must tell you why the villagers treat you the way they have. You may not like what you are about to hear, but I feel you must know. But do know before I speak, that there is help on the way right now, I have sensed it, and it should be here shortly. Also, I tell you that everything I say was done for a reason, and as you grow older you may begin to understand why you were chosen, and why this burden has been placed on you." As the voice finished, Naruto was finally in front of the cage. When he reached the doors, he finally noticed that there was something in it, to go with the voice. Out of the back of the cage came walking perhaps the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. She had long silver hair that reached the middle of her back, and reflected the light from the torches, almost blinding him. She had slightly slanted eyes, and slits for her pupils, which were as red as the blood he has seen so many times in his young life. Her ears were slightly pointed, and her skin was the color of the moonlight from a full moon, pale and white. Her lips were pressed together in a thin line, from where he could tell they were a dark red color. Her neck was slim, and led down to her body that was small, yet looked ready for combat, and able to hold its own. Glancing quickly over her, he noticed that her chest was not large like some women he had seen, but not small either. He also noticed her waist was slim, and her hips were the same as her chest, not small, or large, but something just seemed right with it. As he looked at her hands, he noticed her fingers almost looked like claws, and he wondered how that could be. He noticed that her feet and toes were the same way. Instead of clothes, she had on what seemed like fur covering her hips and chest. The fur was silver, with a hint of red through it. Her skin seemed to glow with its own light, and anywhere he looked he could not see any kind of mark or blemish on it. She had flawless skin. All of this would have surprised him, but what surprised him the most was what he saw behind this person. He saw 9 fox tails, swaying in the air, twitching back and forth behind her. Each one the same color as her hair and the fur covering her. Needless to say, this left the very young Naruto near speechless. The only thing he managed to say was, "Are you an angel?" The women could barely hold back a small laugh at the comment from the young child in front of her. After calming herself, she managed to say, "Finally speak. No, Naruto, I am not an angel, in fact I am probably the farthest thing from one. I am known as the Kyubi, but my proper name is Hikari the Nine-Tailed Kitsune. It is a pleasure to finally meet you face to face. I know you must have many questions, so ask them quickly. I still have many things to speak with you about." Naruto, coming out of his stunned state, managed to speak up, finally asking many of the questions that have been flying through his head with this new information. "Where are we? How do you know me? What is going on? Are you why the people of the village hate me? These were but a few questions that he managed to get out from the many flying through his mind. He stood there waiting for the answers, some of which he has wanted since he was able to realize the way people were treating him. We are inside of your mind. To be exact, we are in front of the seal that traps me within you. I know you because I have been sealed inside of you for as long as you have lived. Your memories are my memories. This is just the first time you have ever been able to speak with me. I think you have done so this time because of the fact you were seeking an escape from the pain you are going through right now. In seeking to escape the outside world, you went into your mindscape. Right now, this is the only way that we can speak with each other. Sadly, yes, I am why they hate you so much. But why? You seem so nice and pretty. The way the people talk about you, they make you seem like a monster who would eat children alive. They have their reasons, Naruto, but do not worry now. I will tell you the full story another time. For now, I want you to listen. Your help is nearly here, and you are very close to dying. If you die, I will die with you thanks to the seal that has been placed on us. I am not talking to you just for this. In all the time I have spent sealed in you, I have hated the way the people treat you. Do not blame them. They are ignorant and foolish. They do not know all of the story concerning why I came to your village. Only 2 people know why, and one of them is dead now. He died in sealing me in you. At this, Hikari stops, and her ears twitch as if listening for something. Ah, your help is here now, Naruto. I want you to go back to your body. I will explain everything very soon. But please do not hate those who have done this to you. If you do so, you will be acting just like them. As she spoke those words, Naruto slowly drifted away. He slowly began to feel pain all over his body, his legs, arms, chest and stomach. Every part of his body is ablaze in pain. So much pain that he wasn't sure how he could still be alive. Finally he heard someone shout out Doden. Doryuheki. As the person shouted this out, a wall of mud appeared around Naruto, and he saw the old man who used to always check on him at the orphanage, the Hokage, land on top of the wall, along with several people with masks on land inside of the walls he created. The Hokage, seeing the state Naruto was in, and the look at the villagers and ninja present, he fought to restrain the urge to attack these people, who would all attack a defenseless child who has no way to protect himself. Instead he turned and spoke to a man with a Hittite worn on his forehead, and the cloth spread over the top of his head. Ibiki, take him to the hospital, and stay with him. Do not let anyone around him unless I am there. Make sure the doctors know to help him to the best of their skills. Anything less they can speak with you. Make sure they know that if they do not help him, they will get a special session with you. Hearing that, Ibiki nods, and picks up the young boy, and takes off towards the hospital while thinking. Who could do this to such a child? It looks like he hasn't eaten or had a bath in days, maybe weeks. I can't understand how this idiots could think that he is the Kyuubi. After Ibiki left, the Hokage turned to the ANBU still there, and the other villagers and ninja gathered. To the ANBU, gather those responsible for this, and take them to a holding cell. They have all just earned a private meeting with Ibiki and Anko. The ninja in the crowd will be the first. Be sure to disarm them, and take away their Hittite. They are a disgrace to this village, and will no longer bear our symbol. Everyone else, I suggest you return to your homes. Many of the people gathered, that had attacked Naruto couldn't help but shout at the Hokage, why do you protect the demon? It deserves to die for what it did 5 years ago. We lost friends and family to that thing. Let us kill it. That way the entire village will be free of the worry of the Kyuubi being released. Why can't these people see that he is not the Kyuubi, just a child? He had nothing to do with what happened 5 years ago. I'm sorry, Yondaime. These people are still too blinded by their hatred to see him as what you wanted. That was all the Hokage could think as he jumped away to the hospital, with 2 ANBU following in his wake. Naruto, I hope you make it. You have lived such a short and hard life. I was hoping to see you grow to a fine young man before you were ever exposed to hatred such as this. Please, whatever Kami is listening, help him pull through this. Why can't these people see that he is not the QB, just a child? He had nothing to do with what happened 5 years ago. I'm sorry, Yondaime. These people are still too blinded by their hatred to see him as what you wanted. That was all the Hokage could think as he jumped away to the hospital, with 2 ANBU following in his wake. Naruto, I hope you make it. You have lived such a short and hard life. I was hoping to see you grow to a fine young man before you were ever exposed to hatred such as this. Please, whatever Kami is listening, help him pull through this. Konoha Hospital. Morino Ibiki was running and jumping across the rooftops of the village as fast as he could. All this while trying to make sure not to injure the obviously near-dead child any more than he already was. As it was, he wasn't sure if the kid would be able to hang on much longer. Just by looking at his own clothes he would guess that the kid was bleed dry. His clothes as well as Naruto's might as well have been dyed crimson from all of the blood that soaked both. It made Ibiki wonder how such a small body could produce so much blood. It wasn't long before Ibiki was at the hospital, and running in asking for a doctor. Many, on seeing who he carried left, despite his threats, to busy themselves elsewhere in the hospital. Thankfully Ibiki has a very good memory for faces, and he planned on visiting some of these doctors again later. Getting frustrated, he decided one last threat, and yell. Damn it, are all of you so afraid of a child that you forgot why you became a doctor? Each and every one of you bastards are an insult to your profession, and I plan on visiting each of you personally once this is handled. Does any one of you spineless asses know what a doctor is supposed to do? With this last threat a new face came into the lobby to see what all the noise was about. He was a doctor of medium build, with short flat black hair. He had on a pair of glasses that was set snugly upon his nose. He had light blue eyes, and wore your standard doctor's lab coat, and scrubs, with a stethoscope hung around his neck. He was not much taller than Ibiki, and had a name tag that read Mihara Ojiro. Once he rounded the corner, he immediately noticed Ibiki, and what he was holding, and he also noticed what was dripping onto the floor of the lobby, blood. Lots of blood, and it was making a very large puddle. Quickly taking one look around, and seeing no one else coming to the aid, he ran forward as quickly and safely as he could to start his work on Naruto. How old is this child? Do you know what happened? How long ago did this occur? Quickly follow me and we will try to do what we can. From the looks of things he has numerous broken bones, and he has lost a great deal of blood. Ibiki on hearing this gave a sigh of relief, and followed the doctor to the operating rooms. As if snapping out of a daydream, nurses followed them back, gathering things that the doctor may need for the operation to come. Many of them were medic nin, and grabbed some soldier pills, blood replenishing pills, and blood clotting pills as they followed them back. Many of them were also younger, not old enough to remember exactly what happened with the QB, and why many of the older staff members did not want to treat this poor child. Once to the operating room, Ibiki set Naruto down on the operating bed, and stepped back to let the doctors and medic nin do their work. He didn't dare to leave the room, since he could not be certain who he could trust with the boy's life, and who he couldn't. He intended to follow the Hokage's orders to the T, and not let anything happen to him if he could help it. I need the medic nins to quickly try to stop his bleeding, give him replenishing pills, as well as clotting pills. First priority is to get him to stop bleeding. Try to stop all internal bleeding first. We will worry about his broken legs and arms later. We need to get him stabilized first, so handle all life-threatening injuries first. And for Kami-sama Sake, keep him breathing. Clear out his throat and get a tube in there to help him breathe for now. Shouted Ojiro to the nurses and other staff that came to help. After giving out his battle orders he went to Ibiki to check him over. After all the big guy was covered in blood, and could have some injuries of his own. Ibiki-san, where are you injured? Wherever you and this young man came from must have been dangerous. Did he come from a village attacked by bandits? Asked Ojiro when he was close to the big man. Ibiki, stunned that he was being asked about injuries, quickly shook it off and responded with more than a little hate in his voice, "No, Ojiro-san, I am not hurt in any way. All of this," he motioned to the front of his clothes, "came from that boy, Uzumaki Naruto, who was attacked." Here he then took a deep breath, obviously trying to calm himself down. He was attacked by our own villagers, for something he has no control over. Even some of our own shinobi attacked the poor kid. He is only 5 years old, and doesn't look like he has seen a decent place to eat, sleep, or bathe in some time. When Hokage-sama, a squad of ANBU, and myself came across him, he was lying in the middle of an alley, surrounded by his only village being beaten, and stabbed. Again the big man had to stop and calm himself. To Ojiro, Ibiki was visibly shaking with rage, as he recalled the events of earlier that night that brought him to the hospital. Had it not been for the Hokage asking us not to hurt them unless needed, you would be a very busy person right now, so would the local marble carver and coffin maker. If me and the ANBU left any trace of the bastards. They were monsters and savages, attacking him relentlessly, hell-bent on killing the boy. But no, I wish some of this was my own. Sadly this is all from Naruto. I didn't know such a small body could hold so much blood in it. I look forward to having a session with those bastards that did this to him. They will get the same treatment that they gave him, but 10 times worse. So I hope you have a wing cleared for some incoming patients in the next few days. Hearing this, Ojiro was stunned. How could our own village do something like this to such a kid? I know the QB is sealed in him, but honestly, he is just a child, he is not the QB. If he was, he would have killed them himself for what they did. That's not all, Doc. If I were you, I would start looking for some more staff here as well. Puzzled, Ojiro had to ask, "What do you mean? We have enough staff here to deal with any kind of problem. We would be able to keep running through a war if we had to." Ibiki couldn't help but give off a deep booming laugh at this. "Oh, you may have enough now, but when the Hokage finds out what some of your doctors and nurses did when I came in, you will be short-handed. They would be lucky to get away from this with their heads still intact." Ojiro gave Ibiki a puzzled look before Ibiki continued with his explanation. "When I came in asking for help, none of the others would help him. They just called him a demon, and said he deserved to die. No one was going to help him. That is until you came into the lobby. You were the only one who came to help him. No one else would have touched him with a 10-foot pole. They would have nothing to do with him, only seeing him as the QB, and not the innocent 5-year-old boy he really is. No, Doc, you may be short-handed soon, because it seems many here have forgotten what it means to be a doctor, nurse, or medic nin. They forgot they vowed to help any person when they are in need of help. For that, they deserve whatever punishment they may get from the Hokage." Ojiro couldn't help but agree with the Jonin. Those doctors who forgot their oath to assist all in need of medical help did not deserve the title of doctor, nurse, or medic nin. They were a disgrace to all others of that profession, trying to play kami, and deciding who lives and who dies. As long as a person has a bit of life flowing through them, they should be helped till the last drop of life is drained out of them. Anyone in the medical field who could not do that deserved the harshest punishment that the Hokage could come up with. To say he was disgusted with the way his colleagues acted would not do his feelings justice. Who is the real demon here, this innocent child, or those who attacked him, and refused to help him? Ibiki-san, I do not know what to say. From what I can tell, Naruto has multiple broken bones. I wouldn't be surprised if most of the bones in his chest were broken, as well as punctured his lungs. From here you can tell yourself that both his arms and his legs have been broken. There is no telling how many other internal injuries he has right now. But believe me, those here will do the best they can to ensure he makes it through this. If I have to, I will do it myself." Ojiro stops here to shake his head and he watches the work of the staff. I cannot help but wonder who the true demons are. This child could not have done anything to protect himself, or harm anything. No, this child is far from being a demon. I would say that those who did this to him are the true demons. Those who would not lift a finger or voice their protest, or aid him are the true demons. As a doctor, it pains me to say this, but I honestly hope they suffer the same pain, if not more than what was done to him. They deserve this fate more than he does. Ibiki was starting to warm up to this doctor more and more the longer he talked with him. This person obviously knew what it meant to be a member of the Hidden Leaf Village. He knew that protecting those around you, and helping those around was as important as anything else. That is where the leaf got its strength, by helping, protecting, and fighting for everyone that is a part of the village, no matter who they might be. If they were in trouble, and needed help, the leaf was supposed to be there for their own. Mihara-san, please, just call me Ojiro, there is no need for things like that. Ojiro, I have a feeling we will be seeing a great deal of each other in the coming weeks. What are the odds of him living through this? I know he is young, and I have the blood on me to prove he is in bad shape. Not to mention the cut those sons of bitches did to his throat to keep him from calling for help. How likely is it that he will survive the operation, and be able to live a normal life, or as normal as it can get his in situation? Ojiro had to walk over and speak with a few of the medic nin before he returned to answer the questions from Ibiki. From what they can tell, it seems just about every bone possible has been broken. His ribs were all broken, and had punctured his lungs. His lungs were filled with blood from the cut to his throat, and from being punctured. All of which are serious injuries themselves. Some of the broken rib fragments came close to piercing his heart, and other vital organs. Thankfully you got him here as soon as you did, with as minimal damage done during transport as possible. He has lost a great deal of blood, far more than a child his age should have. That is very strange, it seems as if his body started to produce more and more blood to compensate for what he lost. I would have to say that is perhaps the only thing that has kept him alive so far. Ibiki was not a weak man, he had inflicted his shares of wounds, and received his fair share in return throughout his life and career as a torture expert. But hearing all of this done to someone that wasn't even as tall as his knees pulled on strings he hadn't felt in a long time. This pulled greatly on his heart, creating a sadness he has not felt in a long time. At the same time, this angered him beyond belief. To think grown men and women could do this to him. Ibiki was looking forward to his days he spent with those bastards. And to think, Anko might be helping me out. I wish I could feel sorry for them. But they deserve no pity for what they are going to get. They lost all hope of that the second they decided to attack a 5-year-old boy who could do nothing to stop them. I hope Hokage-sama takes the leash off when I am allowed to handle them. From the cut to his throat, it doesn't look like we will be able to do much for his vocal cords, or voice box. Even with the most skilled medic nin and doctor here we may not be able to save them. So he may lose all speech ability. Only an active Kami would be able to give that back to him. Kami is going to be working overtime with him as well. His injuries are so numerous, and severe that he may be in critical condition for some time. We may leave him in a special room for observation, with me and any other trusted person watching over him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until he is stabilized. That may not be for some time however. From the looks of it, he is in a deep coma right now, and may never wake up from it. He has probably suffered severe mental damage from this attack as well, with his body being overloaded with pain. That is not surprising seeing how he is so young. Even most adults would have a hard time fighting through whatever pain he was put through. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the shinobi could not fight through it. Here the doctor had to stop, and ponder what they could do to help Naruto more. I'm just afraid there is nothing else we can do for him. We might be able to make sure he lives, but what kind of life would he have sitting in a bed connected to machines and tubes for the rest of his life? Ibiki couldn't help but tear up a little hearing this news. Here, a young life might be snuffed out before it could even see anything of the world. Suddenly a new voice made both men jump in surprise upon hearing it. No, I doubt Naruto will allow something like that to happen. I think he will fight through whatever has been done to him. He may not seem like much, but I believe nothing short of killing him outright would keep him from living. Both Ojiro and Ibiki had to turn towards the voice, and see the Hokage standing at the door to the operation room. Both were surprised they never heard him enter the room. Ibiki, thank you for getting him here in such a hurry. I know it must not have been a pleasant experience holding such a young life in your hands. Thanks to you, he may live to see another day. Ojiro, I wish to thank you as well for helping him, and your staff. To say that I am disappointed in the behavior of many in this fine hospital is an understatement. The Sandaime couldn't help but let out a small chuckle as a thought went through his mind. If she was here, she would make sure each of them were made a permanent part of the Hokage monument, or at least given the hospital enough holes to make it look like a wheel of cheese. She might even have been able to help him. But sadly, in his current state she may do nothing more than freeze up. An honest shame that she did not stay in the leaf. We could use her skills right now. Both Ojiro and Ibiki knew who the Hokage meant, Tsunade, one of the 3 legendary leaf ninjas. Her skills would be of great use right now. She might be the only one that could ensure the survival of young Naruto. Ibiki, why don't you get cleaned up? You and Anko can begin talking to those responsible in the morning. But please, try not to kill any of them just yet. For what they have done, they do not deserve to die in one of your torture rooms. They have broken my law, and the punishment for that will be a public execution. I will not tolerate this occurring again. I made a promise to the Yondaime that I would protect Naruto, and it seems I have failed him so far. I will not fail him again if I can help it. I may not be able to make the village see him as the hero he is, but I will be damned if I will sit by and let them try to kill him again. Just looking at Naruto makes my blood boil, and my temper rage. Now I wish I had done something more than just separate them from Naruto when we first got there. Ibiki nodded in agreement with the old Hokage. He wanted to teach them a lesson as well when they first got there. But he still has his chance in the coming days. No, he wouldn't kill them, but he will make them wish he would. He was going to make their lives of those people a hell on earth in the coming days and weeks. Ojiro had to wonder how bad this could have been, hearing the normally mild-tempered Hokage speak in such harsh terms, towards his own villagers nonetheless. This must have been more severe than it looked when they brought Naruto in. He shuddered to think of what the scene of this incident must have looked like when they came to it. A shiver went down his spine thinking of what the obviously enraged Ibiki would do to those who took part in this. He, like Ibiki, would not feel sorry for them, but sadly he would heal them if he needed. It was his oath as a doctor to help those in need. As for those doctors, nurses, and medic nin that refused to treat Naruto, I cannot give them anything harsh as punishment. It takes a great deal of time to make skilled members of the medical community. I may not be able to do that, but I can reassign them to our outposts along the border, and throughout the country, and move those from the outposts back here into the village. I may also make a request to the daimyo for some assistance, as the need for skilled doctors is very high in any hidden village. Perhaps we could start a school for that, like Tsunade wished long ago. Ibiki and Ojiro just nodded in agreement to the Hokage. What he planned on doing made perfect sense. Finding and making skilled medic nin and doctors is a very hard task, since not everyone is cut out for those occupations. Inside of Naruto's mindscape, Kyubi, are you here? Naruto walked into the cage room asking this. When he walked in, he didn't see her anywhere, so he went closer to the cage. That was when he saw a flicker of silver moving towards the front of the cage. Welcome back, Naruto. You are now in the hospital. They are doing their best to heal you, and fix you up. But since we have a great deal to talk about, I will be keeping you here for now. Naruto nodded, wanting to know more about this person that the village made out to be a great killer. Kyubi, why does the village hate you so much? You don't seem like a bad person, you have been very nice to me since I first saw you. You aren't ugly like the people say, you look almost like an angel, or a goddess sent by Kami himself. Covering her mouth to stifle the giggles the statement from the young boy, she responded. No, I am not an angel or a goddess sent by Kami, I truly am a demon Naruto. And thank you very much for the compliments. It is not every day that one of the 9 great demons gets such remarks from a human. I am very flattered you see me that way. But your village does have a reason to feel this way towards me sadly. Even though they do not know why I came, I did kill many villagers and ninjas. I even killed, indirectly, one of the great ninjas of this time, the Yondaime Hokage. But please Naruto, just call me Hikari, there is no need to call me Kyubi. As for what we must talk about, it has something to do with why I am sealed in you, and why I attacked your village. Then please Hikari, tell me, I want to know why I am hated, and why you are hated. I may only be 5, but I think I have been through more than any other person my age. I just want to know why they look at me the way they do, besides you being in me. I want to know why they hate you so much, when you seem like a very nice person, or demon. Then please, have a seat Naruto, and get ready for a very long story. With that, Naruto took a seat in front of the cage with his legs crossed, and Hikari started her story. Once a long time ago Naruto, mankind lived in cities with buildings that reached the skies. They were great buildings made out of stone and iron. Many of these could possibly rival the size of your village. There were hundreds, if not thousands of cities such as these around the world, with people of different races, cultures, and beliefs moving through them. Many lived at peace with one another, while others were always at war. In this wars, they used weapons, they were stronger than some of the skills used by ninjas today. They had weapons that could fire small metal balls at others faster than the eye could see. They had bombs that could level the strongest of buildings by themselves. They had flying machines that allowed them to travel like the birds, and attack their enemies with surprise and vicious force. Normally these wars stayed in small areas. However, sometimes they would become larger. There have been some wars in the past of this world, where millions have died. There was enough dead to fill this village to the tops of the walls, and overflow them. At this time, many were killed just because of the color of their skin, what they believed in. Others were killed out of jealousy and the need for power. Some killed to protect their loved ones, and home, as well as for revenge. Some things that should never be done. Many killed because of their pride being injured, or they became power hungry. They also had weapons then, that could destroy entire villages, cities, and countries by themselves. It would just take one of these weapons, and it could wipe Konoha off the face of the map, leaving nothing behind but rubble. No one would live through the weapons, not even dogs or cats. The only thing that may survive is a few insects used to harsh conditions. It was because of this that the 9 great demon lords came into this world. We came at first just to observe you mortals, to see what you were like. What some of us saw was very surprising. Some mortals were as bad as some of the sickest demons in the demon realm. They killed without mercy, and without caring who they may hurt. After we saw enough, we all meet together in a council of sorts. Many of us hated what we saw, and thought that it would be only a matter of time before you mortals killed yourselves off. With that in thought, we sought counsel with the great Kamis, and asked what they thought. Many, if not all, agreed with our observations, which is a rare thing to happen. Having both the greatest demons and the Kamis agree on a single topic is very rare. That should only show how dangerous the situation was. We debated on what to do, not having many options that would leave your world livable. So the Kamis made a deal with the demon lords. We were allowed to come to this world in our full form, and act as agents of the Kami, to prevent your kind from destroying themselves and their world. So, we came in our true forms, Shukaku the one-tailed tanuki, Bass the protective two-tailed cat, Isanade the three-tailed and finned shark, Sekhmet the four-tailed lioness, Cerberus the five-tailed wolf, Kira the six-tailed eagle, Ragnarok the dragon, Medusa the eight-headed hydra, and then myself, the nine-tailed fox. We came to your world in our true forms to try to stop the mortals from destroying themselves in their lust for power, greed, and pride. To do this, we had to destroy all that they used for this power, and all their plans for it, to help ensure that it would not be created again. In the end, we ended up recreating the world, sending humankind into a new age, a more primitive age than they were in. That was thousands of years ago, and many have forgotten those times. Since then, the kamis have called on one or many of us to come to this realm, and prevent humankind from doing something that mortals have no right to do, or to try to humble the arrogant, injure the pride and ego of those who had such in abundance. To make the extremely wealthy poor, to teach lessons to those who needed one taught to them. This is also what brought me to your village. I was called because there was a mortal who was seeking something no mortal has a right to claim, immortality. This person, named Orochimaru, sought to gain power by becoming immortal, and wanted to become immortal to gain power. He had broken several laws set by the kami. When this happens, the kamis would call upon a demon lord, or lords to come and help to fix the problem. So I was called to assist in this event. I made my way to Konoha, seeking Orochimaru, and along the way I was attacked by several followers of his. All wearing the leaf headband, so I believed sadly, that the village was in support of his goals. So I came to the village seeking him, and in the process I killed several honorable shinobi, and poor villagers that happened to get in my way. Little did I know at the time, that Orochimaru had left the village years ago, because your people were after him, seeking to stop his tainted ways. I did not know, so I continued to fight. That was until a great man, perhaps the greatest shinobi to ever live, which means a lot coming from the strongest demon lord, came to do battle with me. This man was known as the Yondaime Hokage, the fourth Hokage. He came forward and summoned his ally Gamabunta the Toad Boss to do battle with me. They fought bravely, but both knew it would be impossible to best a demon lord in a fight, let alone myself. It turns out they were only fighting a delaying action, seeking to hold me back while a ritual was prepared. Before starting the ritual, the Yondaime did something no others bothered doing. He asked me why I was attacking. Seeking a peaceful solution before doing something that could not be undone. So I told him why I came, and he told me that Orochimaru was no longer part of the village, that he had left after many tried to stop his foolish quest. Sadly, at the time I did not believe a word he said. In all of my wisdom and experience, I could not see the truth when it was openly admitted to me. I struck the Yondaime, giving him a fatal wound. He had no choice but to begin the ritual that would end both of our lives in the mortal world. The ritual he performed was the one that sealed me into you, Naruto. He gave his life using this method to seal me inside of you when you were a newborn baby 5 years ago to this day. As he died, and completed the ritual, I realized too late, that he had indeed spoken the truth before. Because as a person dies, their lives are like open books to those who know how to read them. With his last breaths he apologized to me, the one who tried to kill him, and severely destroyed the village he was the protector of. I was amazed, that in death this human could still be so noble, and kind, even to someone who did not deserve the kindness. I promised him then, that I would look after the child that I was being placed in, to help make sure that you grew up to be a great person, a great ninja, just like him. He thanked me for the promise, and spoke with the one you called the Sandaime Hokage, the third Hokage, and told him what he learned. The third was amazed, and ashamed at the same time for the foolishness of both sides. He promised the fourth that he would try to make the villagers see you as a hero, for having to endure the burden of me being sealed in you. For the villagers would never believe that I came on a noble quest, and not one of destruction. Sadly, none of them would hear anything of it, so the third was forced to create a special law. This law would prohibit any with knowledge of me being sealed inside of you of speaking of it out in the open. It was done to try to give you a chance at a normal life with the younger generation of the village. Obviously, though, people found ways around this law. They would be cruel to you, not feed you, blame you for the smallest of things. This is also why you were kicked out of the orphanage, and made to live on the streets for the last year. For all of this, I am truly sorry for making your life so hard. Had I listened to the truth when I first heard it, perhaps something else could have been done. But sadly, not even the demon lords and kamis are about ignorance. All that I can do now, since we have started to talk, is to keep my promise to the fourth. To help you become a great and powerful ninja, that can protect those that he cares for and loves. Even those that have shown him hatred you would protect. Because all life if precious, even the most vile. All through the story that was being told by Hikari, Naruto sat and listened, soaking up the information like a sponge. He was amazed at many parts of the story, and even more so when he heard of the battle with the fourth. He had long made up his mind before Hikari mentioned a deal. He would become a ninja, and he would become the Hokage of the village. Even though he was hated, he would protect those of the village, even if they did not want his protection. Now we are up to date, Naruto, and I have a deal I wish to make with you. The offer is simple, and very easy to do. I offer to teach you, and train you, with some of the knowledge I have gained him my eons of life. All that you must do is become a ninja. Of course I will give you small tips on how to do this, but in the end you will learn nothing more from me except methods to become a ninja. I will not teach you any jutsus as you mortals call them, or anything of that nature. To get me to do this, you must become a ninja of the leaf. You must also prove that you are worthy of such power. I will not tell you what you must do, you will have to decide that by yourself. If I do not find you worthy of this power, then I will not train you in how to use it. I will assist you in the mortal ways of the ninja, and that is it. You would learn nothing from the demonic side. That is my offer to you. There is of course a small down payment I will give you if you accept the offer. What that payment is, I will not say, I will let you decide for yourself. To him, he had a great power in him, and the only way to use this power properly would be by protecting those around him. I promise Yondaime, I will become a hero of the leaf, that way your last wish can be granted. I will continue to do what you did till your death. This is what went through the mind of Naruto as he looked at Hikari. Anyo. Hikari, I have a question. Feel free to ask me anything, and I will try to answer if I can. Though I may be a demon lord, I may not know everything. Do you by any chance know who my parents are? I tried asking what happened to them when I could, since others in the orphanage spoke of their parents if they had them. But no one would say anything. Of all the questions she was expecting, this was the farthest away. I wish I could tell you the truth of who your mother and father were, Naruto, but I cannot. You are not yet ready for that information. But maybe, sometime in the future when you become a ninja, I could tell you. This is what she was thinking as she looked down upon Naruto. Knowing she could not speak the truth, she had to say something. No, I am afraid not, Naruto. I never learned of who your parents were. But I am sure they were strong people, since they gave birth to such a strong and special young boy. But do not let the past hold you down. We are to learn from it, and from that grow stronger. I know you do not want to be alone. But just remember, you are not alone, you have me here, as well as some people of the village. I am sure that the third would be willing to help you if you asked for his help, as well as the one who brought you to the hospital, someone named Morino Ibiki. There are others out there, you just have to find them. Naruto, holding back tears, only nodded his head as he heard this. He still had one question left to ask before responding to the deal. Anyo, Hikari, I have one more question if you don't mind. By all means, ask Naruto. Could you be my Nei-chan? Since I don't have any family, I was wondering if you could be my sister. Hikari was surprised yet again by this, but she was very flattered as well. After causing him so many problems in his young life, he wanted to call her sister. Of course, Naruto, I would be glad to be your Nei-chan, and you could be my Ototo. How does that sound, Ototo? He couldn't help but nod his head furiously up and down at this news. Yeah, that would be great, Nei-chan. With that, they both laughed for several minutes before calming back down enough to continue talking. Nei-chan, I accept your deal. I will be the best shinobi Konoha has ever seen. I'm not going to stop there either. I am going to be Hokage one day. I want to be the best Hokage ever, even better than the fourth. Very well then, now for the down payment on our deal. First, you will gain senses like mine. You will have the sight, hearing, taste, and smelling abilities of the kitsunes. Secondly, you will be able to heal quicker than normal people. This is another one of my powers that I am granting you. As we speak, it is already starting to work. Right now it is not as powerful as it would be when you grow older. So it will not heal all of your wounds completely. With you as badly hurt as you were, it will leave several scars on your body where the most severe wounds were. As you grow older, the healing power will grow stronger, and heal you enough to where it will not leave scars. I cannot fix old wounds, so your scars will stay if you gain them before then. So do not get any ideas that you are invincible, Ototo. You can still be killed, and severely injured. Do not let this go to your head, do you understand? Cool. That is cool, Nei-chan, thanks. Don't worry, I don't plan on making today an everyday event. At least not if I can help it at least. Hikari couldn't help but smile at this. Ototo, I have one other thing, the power of the kitsune illusions. This is normally used by the younger kitsune, to protect them, so it is only fitting that you should gain it as well. With this, when you are in danger, it will make you blend so well into the surroundings. No one would be able to see, smell, or sense you when this happens. As you grow older, you will be able to control it better, and use it when your life is not in danger. This is one of the reasons why we kitsunes are tricksters. So be careful with it when you use it. If someone knew you were able to use a demon techniques, things would not be pretty. Yes. Thanks again, Nei-chan. I guess I can't tell anyone about these though, can I? Since I wouldn't know who I could trust and all. I would say there is only one person worth telling, as he will always be there for you, and that would be the Sandame. He deserves to know that we have talked, and that you know about me. He may also be able to help you become a ninja, just do not tell him about our deal. He may not like the idea of me teaching you my demonic skills. Okay. With that, both settled into a comfortable silence. Hikari was about to say something, when she noticed something strange with the healing powers. This is odd. It seems most of his injuries have healed enough to heal naturally in a few days, except for one. This could cause some problems for Ototo. Without this, he may not be able to become a strong ninja like he wants. How do I tell him that he may have lost his voice forever? Hospital room. Ojiro-san. Ojiro-san. Something is happening to Uzumaki Naruto. When Ojiro heard this, he jumped from the cot he had been laying in and followed the nurse to Uzumaki Naruto's room. As he walked to the bed, he noticed something was off. He couldn't place it at first. That is until he got closer and had a better look at the young boy's body. This is impossible. A few days ago he was barely hanging onto a small thread of life. Now nearly all of his wounds have healed. I must tell the Hokage. Go get the Hokage. Tell him it is urgent that he gets here as soon as possible. Hearing that, the ANBU, with silver hair, and a dog mask, vanished in a puff of smoke. Hokage office. It had been nearly 2 weeks since the incident with Naruto and the villagers. Ibiki and Anko were still having a little too much fun with the unlucky shinobi involved in the incident. The Sandame was enjoying the silence, something that has been in short supply in those 2 weeks, when a puff of smoke appeared in front of his desk revealing a silver-haired ANBU with a dog mask on. Hokage-sama, Dr. Mihara requests your presence in Uzumaki Naruto's room. He says that it is urgent, and you should get there immediately. The Hokage was gone before the silver-haired ANBU finished his message. With that task done, he walked out of the office, and pulled a small orange book out from his jacket, and walked down the hall. Hospital. The Hokage made it to the room in record time. After all, he knew the path there like the back of his hand. During the weeks Naruto had been in a coma, he had flatlined about every other day. So he knew how to get there faster than some of the nurses and doctors did. As he entered the room, he was greeted to the sight of numerous doctors poking and prodding the young boy. There were medic nin scanning him as well with their special jutsus. All of them had a very surprised look on their face. Many looked like they had never seen anything like a young boy in the hospital before. The Hokage then noticed Ojiro coming up to him. Ojiro-san, what seems to be the problem? Why are all of these people here in the room, and not just the regular staff? Hokage-sama, I am glad you made it here so fast. Something extraordinary has happened. All of Naruto's wounds have healed so much, that they may heal on their own in just a few days, even with all of his more severe wounds. It is amazing, no one has seen anything like this before. To say the Hokage was surprised would not do his reaction justice. He stood there, looking at a young boy who had been knocking on death's door several times during the week, and running away like a bad joke. Now the boy was nearly back to perfect health. There could only be one thing to explain this, Kyubi. Ojiro-san, do not let this out to anyone else. His medical files are now an S-class secret in this village. Should he come back to the hospital again, he is to see you, and only you. You have just become his official doctor. As such, you are the one who will give him all of his physicals, and other such exams. Swear all others to secrecy, and make sure they know what will happen if they leak this. If they have a problem with this, they can come and speak with me directly in my office. The doctor could only nod dumbly at this news. He was glad just like everyone else that the boy was okay, but to make this an S-class village secret. This could be a new bloodline that had just activated. Then it hit him. This wasn't a bloodline, it could only be one thing. Kyubi is healing him. I suppose it makes sense. If the boy dies, then Kyubi would die too. So I guess the damn demon is finally making itself useful for the poor kid. He nodded, and went about filling out all of the needed paperwork, and letting all those present know about the Hokage's orders. Naruto's mindscape. Ototo, I have something I need to tell you. It is very important, and may change our plans some. Naruto looked up from where he was sitting, giving his attention to his newly found Nei-chan. It seems, even with the healing power, and the help of those outside, there is a part of you that may never heal properly. It is your voice box, and vocal cords. When that bastard human attacked you, and stabbed you there, something happened to prevent it from healing properly. Huh, how can that be? I'm talking to you right now, aren't I? So how could that be true? While you are here, your injuries from the outside do not affect you, but if you were to gain injuries here, it would affect your body. So if you are cut on your real body while here, you would not be cut in the mindscape. But, if you are cut or injured in the mindscape, then the same would happen to your real body. So because your injury to your real body, you are still able to speak inside of the mindscape. This may cause a problem for us, and our plans for your future. How will this change things? I am still going to become Hokage, no matter what I have to do. And no matter what happens to my body. Naruto, most ninjas need a voice to help concentrate on performing jutsus. This is why I say it will be a problem. Thankfully there might be a way around this, and it will be very hard on you to do this. I know you can do it, and I will help you to an extent. I will not help much, just enough to let you know what needs to be done. Cool. Then we will stay with the plan. I won't let this stop me from getting to my dream. With this he struck a pose, and gave the V for victory sign, meaning he would never give up on this dream till he made it. Very well then. I believe there is someone outside waiting to speak with you. Remember though, Ototo, you will not have a voice out there, so you will have to find a way to communicate with them. Writing on a scroll, or some other paper might be the best way to do it. But remember, do not tell anyone but the Hokage that you have spoken with me. We wouldn't want to scare those who dislike you into acting again. With that, she made Naruto slowly return to his regular state of mind, and exit the mindscape. Hospital. Naruto's eyes slowly blinked open, then closed again. Man, why are the lights so bright here? The Hokage saw this, since he was sitting at the side of the bed waiting for this sign. Not long after he first arrived, they realized that Naruto may very well wake up sooner than they thought. Granted, they never thought he would wake up at all. Naruto, can you hear me? It's me, the old man. Come on, Naruto, let me know if you can hear me. Slowly Naruto opened his eyes again, squinting up at the lights of the ceiling. He turned his head side to side, looking around the room. There were no windows, except for the small one on the door. The room smelled like someone went overboard with their cleaning. He had no idea why someone would do that. It was all white, and blinding white, the fluorescent lights reflecting off of the walls, and the white marble tile floor. He turned his head and smiled to the Hokage, a big toothy fox-like smile, that crinkled up his face, and caused his eyes to squint some. He slowly pulled a hand out from under the sheets and gave the old man a thumbs up. The Hokage was surprised to see him in such a happy mood. More so when he saw the big smile Naruto slapped on his face, and the thumbs up following it. Naruto, we need to talk about what happened, okay? I need you to tell me why you never came to me and let me know they kicked you out of the home. If I had known, this may have never happened to you. I am sorry this happened, and only wish I could have gotten there a little faster. Thankfully young Ayame managed to get some help when she did. She and her father are doing very well, and have tried to come by to see you several times. Naruto again flashed his smile, and nodded. He pulled his other hand out from under the sheets and held it to the other, making a motion like he was trying to write something in thin air, hoping the Hokage would understand what he was trying to say. The Hokage watched Naruto closely, and noticed what he was doing. Surprised that he forgot what the doctor said, he quickly got some paper and a pen for Naruto to use. Taking the offered paper and pen from him, Naruto scribbled out. Hey old man, it's great to be awake. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. You may want to lock the doors or something so that no one can come in while we talk. Nodding, the Hokage walked to the door, and let the ANBU outside know what was going on, closed the door, and locked it. Okay Naruto, you can go ahead and start now. Well, sorry about the scare. I tried coming to talk to you like you said, but every time I would be chased away by people. I finally just gave up on trying to get to you. About the orphanage, they tossed me out about the same time. Not sure when it was exactly. But those don't matter anymore, I got a Nei-chan. After reading the last part, the Hokage did a double take making sure he read that right. He found his sister while he was in a coma. Or could he mean the Kyuubi? If so, I thought the Kyuubi was male. Wouldn't be the first surprise we got from the Kyuubi. Naruto, do you mean the Kyuubi is your Nei-chan? Are you sure you don't mean Nii-san? Naruto shook his head. No, and pointed at what he wrote again. Then started to write out, no, I mean Nei-chan. Kyuubi is a girl, and a very pretty one too. She looks almost like an angel. In the mindscape, Hikari couldn't help but blush at the compliments he continued to give her. She is very nice, and even helped to heal me some. But she told me that I might not get my voice back. Which is a real bummer, but I can live with it. The Sandaime was surprised at how well Naruto was doing. Thinking about it, he was also very surprised at how well the young boy could write. He was writing very neat, and clear, easy enough for him to read. It was almost as if he was a child genius, with the way he wrote, and spoke through his writing. Naruto, am I to understand, that you and the Kyuubi, have spoken? What has he, or she said to each you? Please do not leave anything out. If need be, I will get a scroll for you to write all of this on. That way we could file it away in the archives or in my office. Naruto nodded, and let the Hokage know that he should do that. After a few minutes, an ANBU knocked on the door with what the Hokage asked for. With that done, he got a rolling table, and brought it over to Naruto with the scroll rolled out and open for Naruto to use. With that, Naruto began to write out everything that happened that night 2 weeks ago. He told the Hokage everything, except for the deal made with Hikari. As Naruto got to the part of wanting to be a ninja, and dreaming to become the Hokage of the village, the Sandaime was utterly surprised. This child, who could not, and may never be able to speak another word verbally, still wanted to become a ninja, even after hearing from the Kyuubi, know his Nei-chan. This is going to take getting used to, not to mention that her name is Hikari. That was something she never told used 5 years ago, that it would be very hard to do. But who was the Hokage to deter him from such a dream? He would back him up from the shadows as best as he could. With that in mind, he made a mental note to register Naruto for the Ninja Academy as soon as possible. He was also very interested in what he heard about the gifts that were given to Naruto. He was very thankful when he heard about the Kitsune illusion technique, but he feared what Naruto may do with it as he learned to control it. He could already feel the headaches coming to him. After all this was done, the Hokage still had one question left for Naruto. Something was just bothering him about the way Naruto was able to write so fine and clear. Naruto, I have one more question before I let you get some rest for the night. How are you able to write so well? You couldn't have learned it from anywhere, due to the sad events that have happened. So how have you learned to write so clearly and neatly? Naruto was stunned when he heard this. Everything he was doing just felt so natural. But now that he thought about it, he realized that he had never learned to write very well. He did the only thing he could think of. He asked his Nei-chan. Nei-chan, do you have anything to do with this? I've never been able to write like this before. It almost seems like someone took over my body or something. Naruto heard a chuckle in the back of his mind from the mindscape. He knew she had something to do with it. Ototo, you are smarter than people give you credit. Along with the other gifts, let's just say I jump-started your brain with some of my memories, that way you could talk to people better. I also have something else in mind for you, that I plan on teaching you once we get out of here. After hearing this, he let the Hokage know, and watched as a brief stunned look passed quickly, and left as quickly across his face. Okay Naruto, I think it is time you get some rest. You still are not completely healed yet, so rest up. You may be able to leave the hospital by the end of the week. Hopefully I have something set up for you to live in by then. Seeing how you are still young, I may see if I can find someone to take care of you. You may not believe me, but there are a number of ninja that are worried about you, one being Morino Ibiki. He seems to have taken a liking to you, and has been by every day. I think you will be surprised when you finally meet him. With that, the Hokage tucked Naruto in, and whispered a good night to him. He turned towards the door, and dimmed the lights down before he left the room. Well Yondaime, if anything, he has the potential to become the hero you want him to be. Let us see what Kami has in store for him now. Hopefully the rest of his life is not as bad as his first few years have been. Okay Naruto, I think it is time you get some rest. You still are not completely healed yet, so rest up. You may be able to leave the hospital by the end of the week. Hopefully I have something set up for you to live in by then. Seeing how you are still young, I may see if I can find someone to take care of you. You may not believe me, but there are a number of ninja that are worried about you, one being Morino Ibiki. He seems to have taken a liking to you, and has been by every day. I think you will be surprised when you finally meet him. With that, the Hokage tucked Naruto in, and whispered a good night to him. He turned towards the door, and dimmed the lights down before he left the room. Well Yondaime, if anything, He has the potential to become the hero you want him to be. Let us see what Kami has in store for him now. Hopefully the rest of his life is not as bad as his first few years have been. The weeks before Naruto woke up, Morino Ibiki walked into a room under the Hokage Tower. Deep underneath so that those above would not have to hear what went on in this section. This was the area of the Hokage Tower that many people feared. More so when it involved Morino Ibiki. Ibiki was not a special jonin for nothing. He was the head of the ANBU torture and interrogation unit. He was paid to hurt people for information, and as punishment for those who deserved such treatment. He was hardly a person who enjoyed his job all of the time. Most of the time he only enjoyed it when working with Nukenans, and enemies of his village. Today though was special. Today it would be his own comrades from his own village, who were not considered Nukenans. They were people he may have worked with before. But they also crossed a line recently. These people took it upon themselves to break an S-class law, passed by the Sandaime Hokage 5 years ago. It was made to give a special child a chance at a normal life. At least as normal as possible with what he kept deep inside of him. The people he would be working with today, beat and may have possibly killed a 5-year-old boy. A boy who did nothing wrong, other than try to go to a village festival, he should have every right to attend. Sure, these people may have been drunk, but god damn it, some of these people were ninjas, and should know better. This is what was passing through his mind as he walked into his area and put his work face on. His work attitude consisting of a cruel smile, and cold dark eyes. He was not in his world, where he was ruler, and he could deal with people how he saw fit. The ones he was going to be dealing with for the next week would be put through the same pain that put the boy known as Naruto through. He would deprive them of majority of their food and water, barely giving them enough to survive. He would deprive them of sleep, and any comfort they may think they deserve. Then the real fun would start for his guests. They would each get special one-on-one sessions with him and Anko. There would be the physical torture, and then the emotional and psychological torture. The things he was very good at. This is often why people called him a sadist, and cringed or slowly backed away from him when he walked by. He was content to let them see him that way, as it often meant not being bothered unless of an emergency. It also helped him get the things he needed done faster when he asked someone to do it. His partner, Mitarashi Anko, was another person that had a gift for this trade. She may not express it like himself, but she has her own way of torturing people when they needed information. Her being the former student of one of the greatest Nukenans to come from Konoha, Orochimaru, had something to do with this. Another thing that helped was just her, such as enjoying causing pain to people, and the use of her snakes in this. Many people attribute this, once again to her former sensei. She just loved summoning some of the deadliest snakes possible, and leaving them in a room with her toys. Or summoning a python or another constrictor to slowly squeeze the life out of people. One way or another, she was very effective at her job. Maybe more so than Ibiki was at times. But she was just so damn hard to control at times. Right now Ibiki was in the room of the first one to attack Naruto. Yamato Inari. The man still showed no sympathy for what he did. Instead he was wondering why he was being punished. This man thought he should be given a reward for possibly killing the Kyuubi. He forgets the fact that it was a human child he possibly killed, and not one of the 9 dreaded demon lords. The idiot failed to realize that if he was fighting the Kyuubi, that he would not be here for Ibiki to talk to. People are so stupid when they are drunk. What the hell am I still doing here, Ibiki? I know the Hokage told you to talk to us, but Aiju thought he was putting on a show for those damn demon loves. Sighing before he decided to respond, Ibiki stated, I hate to disappoint you then Yamato-san, but you are not going to be leaving here till the Hokage decides the proper punishment for those who broke his law. What the hell? How did I break that stupid law? Everyone should know what that bastard child is. That way it could no corrupt any of the other children. Hell, It should have been killed the day the QB was put into it. Was all Inari could think of when he heard this news. What do you mean, Ibiki? There is no way he could say we broke that crazy law. Oh, I think there are a number of ways he could. First, at the festival, you and many others were shouting out at him, and chasing him, calling him a demon, QB to be exact. Second, you chased him all through the city doing this very same thing. Third, the daughter of the man that some of your followers knocked out and tied up heard what you people said. She is not old enough to know what happened, or the law that comes with it. So you see, you and your buddies have broken the law. You will be punished as needed. Seeing how you have possibly attacked and killed a civilian, while you are a ninja, a chunin no less, expect a rather stiff one. Did you think you would be let off of the hook for this easily? I mean, you beat poor Naruto to an inch of his life. And for what? Because he was the unlucky one to have the QB sealed into him. He had no choice in the matter. For that fact, he is not the QB. If he was, then I would bet my goddamn life that you and every one of those other villagers would not be alive right now. He would have killed each one of you without a second thought, just like 5 years ago. Don't give me this shit, Ibiki. That thing could just be waiting for the right time. It has no feelings, or sense of right from wrong. It is all one of its plans to catch us when we do not expect it. If that is how you see it, then I guess I have to get this session underway. This may be one of the few times I have taken pleasure in doing this to a fellow villager who was not a Nukenin. With that last sentence, Ibiki grabbed the chains on Inari, and chained him to the walls with his arms and legs spread. Arms spread above his head, and legs underneath. He then went to a solid wall, and channeling an exact amount of chakra revealed several tools. Some knuckles, knives, scalpels, whips, chains, ropes, just about everything needed for a proper torture session. Ibiki looked around the cabinet and selected some rather large sets of brass knuckles. Fitting them onto his bare paw-sized hands, he closed the wall back, and walked over to Inari. Anything you'd like to say before we start? Screw you and the Hokage. That thing deserved what it got, and then some. It killed our fellow ninja 5 years ago, and destroyed much of the city. So do what you can, you damn demon love. Here he was cut off from a hard punch from Ibiki to his ribs, knocking the breath right out of him. From there, Ibiki alternated from the chest and ribs, to the gut and kidneys. He didn't hold back with the shots to the head either, along with several hard headbutts. This went on for several minutes with Inari swearing up a storm. Finally, Ibiki stopped for a few minutes, slowly cleaning the blood off of his hands and face from Inari. That thing, as you called him, has a name. His name is Uzumaki Naruto, not it, demon spawn, devil child, hell spawn, QB, or anything else. Just straight old Uzumaki Naruto. So don't forget it. From now on, each time I hear you refer to him by anything else, consider it another nail in your coffin. After all, it is not a rare thing for people to die from my sessions with them. After having his say, Ibiki turned and left the room. Once outside, he turned the lights inside of the room on as bright as they would go, and turned on some music, also as loud as possible. The point of this was to make sure Inari did not go to sleep. Normally this would be used to break the will of prisoners of war, and other such people. It also served to slowly eat at one's sanity. Turning away from the door, he went down to see how Anko was doing. It wasn't too hard to find out where she was, he just had to follow the sadistic sounding laugh, and the screams of SSSSSNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNNN. He spared a rare laugh at the childish scream from whoever got to deal with Anko. 1 week before Naruto wakes, the Hokage was sitting in his office, thinking about what was going to happen in a few short hours. His village would be short 8 more ninja. 8 that they could barely spare to lose so soon after the attack 5 years ago. Sadly, it could not be helped. Many on the council argued that there was no need for such a punishment. Thankfully, he was able to convince them that not carrying through with the punishment set 5 years ago would make them seem weak to other villages. If there was one thing the council hated, it was for their village to be seen as weak. So here they are now, just hours away from the execution of several people who broke an S-class village secret. He couldn't help but pity them. One good thing that he could take some solace in is the fact that few of them had any family in the village. Those that did, their family understood. Some were even disgusted at hearing the charges brought up against them. The people were sentenced to death, and the least he could do was ensure them a quick and painless death. Though they deserved it, they were still what he considered his precious people. The entire village fell under this list for him, and having to do such a thing to any of them, no matter how deserving, was hard on his old heart. That is why he decided to have them gain an instant death. He spoke with a medic Nin, who was there to assist in Naruto's emergency surgery, and they agreed to assisting. The medic Nin would cease all blood flow from the heart, and stop the chakra flow. This would guarantee a quick death for them. The medic didn't hesitate to make know that he thought they deserved a slow death, maybe being burned at the stake by a Kaiden jutsu. The Hokage also managed to talk the medic Nin into wearing a hood and mask over his head. This was done for his protection, as you never know who would want to get revenge for this. The only person who knew who the medic Nin was of course the Hokage. Night Naruto awoke. Naruto was back inside of his mindscape, sitting in front of the seal. He had a rather turbulent day since he woke up from what he was surprised to hear, 2-week coma. He had spent most of the day telling the Hokage of everything that had happened since his time in the orphanage, all the way to the talk with the Hokage. It had all been rather draining emotionally and physically for his young body. In the entire day, he never really thought about all of the information that he had learned. First, there was the fact he had a very old demon lord inside of him. Not just any of them, it was the nine-tailed lord, the Kyuubi, or Hikari as he found out. She, not he, like many people thought, really was a nice lady, demon, whatever. She had been very nice to him, and seemed like she cared about him. Of course he was happy to have someone caring for him. He just never expected it to come from a great demon. Naruto also learned a great deal about the history of the world, some of which he still didn't really understand right now. But he still thought it was cool. Hearing about cities larger than his own home village, and about buildings in them that reached above the clouds. It was all very amazing to his young mind. Then he heard about how the Nine Lords destroyed the old world, all of the amazing things he heard about, destroyed in the blink of an eye. It made him shudder in fear and excitement. Fear because he had something in him that had that much power. Excitement, because maybe one day he could have that kind of power. On top of all this, he was still just a little bit confused about everything. All of this was almost too much for him to take in at one time. Here he was, just turning 5, and finding out all of these amazing things. This should be too much for any 5-year-old to handle. Some reason though, he was taking it very well. Maybe it had something to do with some of the modifications done to him by his newly found Nei-chan. Maybe she helped to make him a little more mature for his age. Not that living on the street for the last year didn't help with it much. Something about Hikari just comforted him in a way he has never felt before. It made him feel like no matter what, things would be okay for him. This was a strange feeling to him, he had never felt this way before. On top of that, he had just learned he may never be able to talk again. That in itself was depressing. He would have to go through the rest of his life silent, and maybe writing things out on scrolls and paper. And yet, he still wanted to become a ninja, which would require someone who could talk, from what he had heard from the Hokage and Hikari. So he may have just a little problem there. Not to mention he decided to set a goal, to become like his newfound hero, the Yondaime Hokage, and become Hokage of the village to be recognized, and to protect the village. There was only one problem with that: who ever heard of a leader that couldn't talk to his followers? All this was going through his head as he sat in his mindscape. He couldn't help but start to think about these things that he had discovered during the day. He didn't know what to do, so he decided to talk about it with the only person he could, his Ne-chan. Anyo, I was wondering, how can I become a ninja? Don't they need to be able to talk and all to do some of the things they do? It would be too hard for me to do it without knowing how to talk. I was wondering when you would pick up on this. It is true that it will be hard for you to do many things a ninja is known for, though it is not impossible. Take jutsus for example. Normally there are 3 parts to being able to do them properly. One is using hand seals to help concentrate, the other is molding the chakra just right, and finally speaking the name of the jutsu as an added form of concentration on it. But, there is a way to perform jutsus with only 2, and maybe only one of these steps. It only takes hard work, and extreme dedication. To do it, you would have to have great chakra control. With this, you could be able to perform just about any jutsu known. Some ninja have refined their skills enough, that this is all that is needed to perform them. You may still have to form the final seal of the jutsu, but that is more just for the concentration on the type of jutsu you are performing. So with great control of your chakra, you could do this. At first it will take time, more so when attempting to learn new ones. But this will also give you an advantage, should you be able to perfect this ability. You would be able to perform them quicker than most people, even the Jonin, ANBU, and Hokages. It would also make it hard for people to copy, should they have the ability to. It is something that takes a lot of time. It is also well worth the time. However, it will be twice as hard for you, since you have more chakra than most others your age, and some older than you. Huh, what do you mean Ne-chan? Well, you have the normal chakra that most humans have, a blue chakra, so to speak. That is the chakra all humans have. But you also have another special chakra in you, mine. You will be able to use my chakra, which will be unstable for you to use, until you practice it for some time. This will make using chakra very hard for you at times. It will require extra focus, and hard work by you. Failing to do so would only leave you with the most basic uses of chakra, and nearly limit you to only taijutsu, out of the 3 major forms of jutsus. That is why I will be helping you as you grow to learn to control your chakra. Both your own and mine. I had a feeling it wasn't going to be that easy. I guess the only way for me to become a ninja is a lot of hard work. Yes, and those are often the best types of ninja. There are those ninja who are gifted for the life, and those who have to work hard to become a ninja. Those who are gifted often forget the important things, all because it comes natural to them. While those who work hard earn everything they get, and so it becomes more important to them. I was wondering though, don't ninjas have to talk to people a lot too? It would be too hard to do that the way I am now. Is there no way to heal me, or find another way? I was listening to what the doctors were saying, while you were asleep, and there seems to be a human who might be able to help. But unfortunately, no one knows where to find her. Though, there is still another way for you to learn to talk, without having to write things down all of the time. It is a fairly dead language, that is practiced by very few. In the times of this world, before most of it was destroyed, there was something known as sign language. In this you would speak with your hands, and be able to hold a conversation with others who knew this language. It would take time to learn, but I think it is well worth it. On top of that, I think it would be an excellent tool for all ninjas to learn, as silence and stealth is important. This language requires no verbal exchange, so it falls perfectly into both of those categories. Where do I go to learn it? That is the hard part. There is not much known about it now, just small pieces. The only place you would be able to find detailed information is in one of the lairs of a demon lord here in this world. Quote. But you just happen to be in luck, Odoto. I have a copy of the material needed to learn this language. I would be willing to lead you and someone else to it, but only on one condition. Cool. What do I need to do? It is not what you must do. It is a promise that your Hokage must make with me. He must promise to have it become a lesson at what is called the Ninja Academy. This is only because I feel others your age should know it, as well as it being a useful tool for all ninjas. Do you think he would do that though? I like the idea and all, but making everyone learn it just because of me. I don't think anyone would be willing to do that. Well, from what I can tell, he does care for you. This will not only benefit you though, it would benefit everyone who learns it. I think this should be a tool all serious ninjas should know. There are other things that I might be willing to share with him, all of which are useful for what a ninja does. So I should ask him in the morning, or the next time I see him. Yes, and I have a feeling he will be one of the first people here, bright and early in the morning. Perhaps along with a few others. Though one of the people smell as bad as a snake. I would be careful around her, she seems to be a few eggs short of a full dozen. Naruto couldn't help but laugh at this. He was wondering who all had been to see him, since he knows he didn't have many, if any friends. He knew none of the grown-ups liked him when he was growing up, so hearing there might be some gave him a little hope. Now, if the Hokage agrees to the terms, I will lead you and one or two others to one of my lairs. It is just down by the coast of what is called Wave Country. But that is all I will say for now. Who will go with you is up to your Hokage. For now, I think we have talked enough. You need to get your sleep, and rest. As we make the trip, if we do, I will work on giving you the Kitsune senses. Some of it will be painful, but you should be able to handle it. During that time, I will also be helping you to learn to control them. If we cannot go, then we will have due to this here in the village, or the forest surrounding it. So sleep now, you will have a long couple of days coming up. With those final words, Naruto finally managed to relax, and get one of the best night's sleep he has ever had. Naruto slowly woke up to the same room he was in before. He noticed it was very dark in the room, with the only light coming from a window on the door. He noticed a clock on the wall, but having never learned to tell time, had not idea what time it was. 7 in the morning. Naruto. I can see we have some basics to go over when we get the chance. Pouting, Naruto mentally stuck his tongue out at his Ne-chan for picking on him. I'm hungry. I haven't had anything to eat in a while. At least nothing that I remember eating. Wonder if there is a place to get something to eat around here. With that, Naruto was about to get out of bed, that was until the door to his room opened. Standing in the doorway was the Hokage, along with what must have been a doctor. Naruto really had no idea what doctors looked like though, so he could only guess. Ah, Naruto, I see you are awake now. Good, good. I will see about getting one of the nurses bring some food up for you. Kami knows you could use it, was all the man in the white coat and blue paper shirt and pants said to him before leaving. The Hokage walked in, and pulled a chair up besides Naruto's bed. Well, good morning, Naruto. Feeling any better? Naruto nodded his head, because to be honest he had never known how much a good night's sleep could make a person feel. After doing this, he remembered the talk with Hikari during the night, and motioned for something to write on. Nodding his head in understanding, the Hokage pulled out another scroll, and pen from his robes for Naruto to use. Thanks again, old man. I wanted to talk to you about something that Hikari was telling me about. She was telling me of a language that would let me communicate with people besides writing. It was something called sign language. Thinking about it, the Hokage had to admit, if Naruto was to go through life like this, it would be very difficult, more so if he truly did want to become a ninja, and then Hokage someday. How did she intend for you to learn it, Naruto? Well, that is going to be the hard part. She said there are probably very few people who know some of it, even then, they know very little. The only places where there is a chance of a complete information on it, would be in the lair of a demon lord. I don't like where this is heading. She couldn't possibly hope for us to find one of these and then take the information out of it, does she? was the first thing that came to the Hokage's mind when he read this news from Naruto. Very well then, what did she have in mind, as far as getting this information? Well, she wanted me and a few others to go to a lair, and get it and bring it back. But, the only way she would help us get to the lair, is if you made a promise to her, and me I guess. What would that promise be? That you allow the Ninja Academy to teach it as one of their lessons. She thinks all ninjas should know it, since it is a silent language using hand signs, and would be perfect for a ninja. Well, now that is a surprise. I didn't expect her to want to help us out like this. If what he says is true, then it could very well be something worth doing. It seems as if Naruto trusts her, and the Yondaime claims she does possess honest intentions. We shall have to see how useful this information is then, thought the wise Hokage. Okay Naruto, I give my word, that the information brought back will be taught at the academy. Before that though, I would have to study it myself to be able to teach it to the instructors, if that is all right with her. That is fine, I wouldn't expect anything less from a caring leader. She says that is fine, that it is what she would expect from someone who cared about those who followed them. I want to try to do this as soon as possible. That way I don't have to write everything like this all of the time. My hand is starting to cramp up already. Haha. I understand Naruto, and as soon as Dr. Mihara says you are able to leave, you will. I will of course have to find people that I trust enough to go with you. I would also like to know where you will be going, if you don't mind telling me. I don't suppose it will hurt to let him know, one way or another he would find out. Unless you wanted to make the trip on your own, which I do not think you are ready for just yet. So you can tell him. Gee, thanks Ne-chan, I am glad you have that much confidence in me. Well, it is on the coast of some place called Wave Country. As we get closer, she will point us there. Oh yes, I forgot another thing Naruto, you will be the only one able to go in, or near it. There is a special genjutsu, set up by myself, that prevents anyone other than me and other demon lords from entering. If anyone else tried, they may find themselves in a rather uncomfortable location. She also says that only I can go into the place, or the area around it. Something about a genjutsu that can make people go to an uncomfortable place, whatever she means by that. Only demon lords are supposed to be able to go into it. And I suppose since she is sealed inside of you, that you will be able to go through. As observant as his nickname suggests. Yeah, so whoever comes with me, would have to sit and wait for me. Hopefully it wouldn't be too long. After that there were a few minutes of silence, only disturbed by a nurse bringing in a tray of food for Naruto. Naruto didn't waste any time in swallowing the food down, with little effort in chewing. There was eggs, bacon, some grainy things that he didn't know what they were, toast, and some juice to wash it all down. No sooner had the tray been placed in front of him it was clean spotless. The nurse and Hokage stood there amazed. Not many people liked hospital food, and very few could eat it as fast as Naruto just did. The Hokage noticed then that Naruto was writing down on his scroll again. Can I have more? I haven't had anything this good to eat in a while. Both the nurse and Hokage developed large sweat drops on the back of their heads. Of course they couldn't blame him, he was extremely underweight for a normal child his age. A person could count his ribs, without worrying about possible miscounts. That is how malnourished he was. So they wouldn't mind letting him eat his fill. After a few more trays of food Naruto was stuffed. With a big yawn he laid back on the bed to relax a little. About that time, the doctor from earlier came back into the room. Well Naruto, it seems you are doing rather well, if the trays of food mean anything. The nurse says you are moving around well, and most of your injuries seem to have healed completely now, thanks I'm sure to your friend. I would have no problem with you being let out of here, as soon as suitable arrangements could be made. The Hokage took this time to send the ANBU outside the room for the very two people he planned on sending with Naruto to this lair, Ibiki and Anko. Both in the last few weeks have been acting very out of character, visiting Naruto's room when they were not busy. Ibiki, who saw the state Naruto was in to begin with, was understandable. He had even helped to bring Naruto to the hospital. Anko though, that was an odd story altogether. She heard of what happened, and heard of what people thought of Naruto during one of her sessions with those responsible. She wasn't too kind to those people after hearing the details. No one knew why she seemed to care about Naruto, seeing how she never cared about anything else, except for her favorite food, and getting even with her traitorous former sensei. When he left Anko, she was insulted, teased, and interrogated, to see if she knew of his plans. She was blacklisted by many people, and trusted by very few. The number of people who truly trusted her could be counted on one hand, Morino Ibiki and Sandaime Hokage. Those were the only ones that trusted her with anything. The people she cared for was something that no one could figure out. As far as everyone could tell, there was no one she really cared for. She had no boyfriends, girlfriends, or what anyone would consider close friends. She had no family left in the village either. So for her to show some interest in this one kid, one she had never known before, was a surprise to many people. To the Hokage though, it was something he would have expected. Both Anko and Naruto were hated by majority of the village, but Anko never let it bother her. She let it roll off her back, and kept going about things her own way. Hearing about how Naruto was treated hit her deep inside. She hated people being treated like trash, much like the villagers did her after Orochimaru left. She couldn't sit by and let anyone else be treated that way. So seeing a chance to give someone like herself a new chance on life, she was going to jump at it. That is why Anko was here, and willing to help Naruto. At least as far as the Hokage knew, he could tell she was interested in him though. It didn't take long for the doctor to finish his exam of Naruto. He noticed that majority of the wounds have healed even more since yesterday's examination of Naruto. Well, I'll be. If this kid could develop this ability a little more, he just might be near unstoppable in a fight. I'm only glad he is on our side. Well, Naruto, I would say you are back to normal, at least as normal as you could be under the circumstances. As soon as the Hokage finds a place for you to live, I have no problem discharging you into a guardian's hands. Oh my, I forgot, we have yet to be introduced. I am your doctor, Mihara Ojiro. It is a pleasure to finally be able to talk with you. From now on, if you need any kind of medical help, please come and see me. I will be sure to fix you up as good as new each time. So remember that. With that he turned to leave the room. As Ojiro was leaving, Ibiki and Anko walked in. Almost immediately Hikari smelled the scent of snakes. Naruto, be careful. That woman has the scent of snakes on her. She may have something to do with Orochimaru. Be on guard around her, until she proves she can be trusted. Naruto mentally nodded his head confirming he understood. After that he looked at his newest visitors. One was a large man. He reminded Naruto of a bear he once saw when he was in the woods. The man had 2 scars on his face, and wore his village Hittite across his forehead, with the cloth covering the entire top of his head and tied at the back. He had on a large heavy black jacket, that reached down past his knees, as well as light black pants, with a holster on his right leg. He wore a light black shirt, that went all the way to his neck, and buttoned up. All of this helped to give him a very scary look to most people. Someone though, when Naruto looked in his eyes, he knew he could trust him. The other person was another story. She wore a tan jacket, and with an orange skirt around her waist. She had on what looked like a full-body fish-net style of clothing, with white shin guards on her legs. She also wore the standard ninja-style sandal. Her eyes were a light black, both the pupil and iris. She wore her Hittite properly across her forehead, and had hair the same color as her eyes. As soon as she walked into the room she walked over towards Naruto, and started poking him, and just looking him over. So Ibiki, this is the brat He doesn't look like much, but to have made a complete recovery in 2 weeks, there just has to be something special about him. It's a shame really. He has such nice blue innocent eyes, and his spiky blonde hair, he looks almost good enough to eat. But I could think of other things to do with him too, if he was a little older that is. Through all of the last part, she was running her hand through Naruto's hair, and nearly touched her nose to his. Inside Naruto's head Hikari was not having a good time. You damn harlot, get away from my little brother. I'll kill you if you even think about touching him in any way. Naruto was just sitting in the bed dumbfounded at both Anko's antics, and Hikari's rant. Thankfully for him Ibiki come to save him. Now Anko, what did the Hokage tell you? You can't go around acting like that. Naruto is young and easily influenced right now, and for the village sake, we don't need him acting like you. We would all lose our sanity with both of you running around. Ibiki finished this off with a small chuckle at the disgusted look on Anko's face when he finished. Anko knew Ibiki was joking around with her, and she couldn't blame him. She would drive herself crazy at times. With a mini Anko running around, there is no telling what kind of trouble would pop up. She still couldn't help but notice that Naruto would more than likely be a heartbreaker when he got a little older. He almost reminded her of another spiky-haired blonde from 5 years ago. She shook her head to get back on track. Well, I guess we should introduce ourselves. I am Mitarashi Anko, a special Jonin. Tall, dark and spooky over there is Morino Ibiki, another special Jonin. Nice to finally get to talk to you Naruto. Anko and I have some news for you, that you might enjoy. Naruto quirked an eyebrow at this. He had never seen these people before, but they seemed nice enough, and the Hokage seemed to like them. He figured why not trust them. Naruto waved his hand in greeting to each of them. Ah, Ibiki and Anko, nice of you to finally get here. It seems before we go through with that other arrangement, Naruto has something to do over by Wave Country. He is going to need a couple of people to go with him though. So, if you don't mind, meet with me in my office tomorrow morning, and I will brief the two of you on what is going on. So you two run and get your gear ready for tomorrow. Be ready to be out for at least a week, maybe more. I would also like for someone to buy some things for Naruto, clothes and other essential items. Be sure to get a few empty bags as well, there is no telling how much you may bring back. Also pack for all occasions, you never know if enemy ninjas will come across your path. Naruto, we will need to try to find some earplugs, scrapes of cloth, and sunglasses. This is for when we train your new senses along the way. See if they will take you shopping with them, that way you can buy them yourself, without letting them know too much. Waving his hands, Naruto tried to get the attention of the Hokage, Ibiki or Anko. Finally Anko noticed him. Does the poor little baby need a hand with something? Using the bathroom, or want your big sister to hold you? Naruto grumbled, and Hikari was throwing a fit in his mind. I was wondering if I could go with you. Since you probably don't know what size clothes I wear or anything. Plus there were some things I wanted to get. If you don't mind old man Hokage. Anko and Ibiki both covered their mouths to prevent the laughs from popping out. The Hokage didn't mind though, it only meant that Naruto was on his way to healing. I suppose that should be fine Naruto. Just don't wander too far away from Ibiki and Anko. There are some clothes in the drawer of the table by your bed. Put them on, and meet us outside of your room. With that, the Hokage, Ibiki, and Anko all stepped out of the room to let Naruto change. Once outside, the Hokage turned to the other two. Keep an eye on him, there may still be people that hold a grudge against him for what we had to do to those involved in him being here. People still hate him, even though he does not deserve that hate. Do not let anything happen to him. Protect him as best as you can. Don't go overboard though, some people are just too stubborn to see the real Naruto. So do not go to the extreme. Also, try not to rub off on him too much. I get the feeling he is a little untrusting on strangers, some more than others right now. With the last part he gave Anko a quick glance, and she nodded in understanding. I don't blame the kid. I hate myself for ever trusting that damn bastard Orochimaru. The fact that the kid has a demon in him bent on killing Orochimaru only makes me like the kid more. I always wondered though, what it would be like to have a little brother. Guess there is no better way to find out what it is like than with this brat. Ibiki nodded as well in understanding, and leaned against the wall waiting for Naruto to come out of the room. After a few minutes, and sounds of things falling over, Naruto finally walked out of the room dressed in baggy gray sweatpants, a white t-shirt that could be used for a tent by Naruto, and shoes that looked like they belonged to a clown. Everyone couldn't help but laugh at the sight, even Naruto when he saw his reflection in a glass door across the hall. After settling down, Ibiki, Anko and Naruto all walked out of the hospital, and to a bright sunny day in the village of Konoha. Naruto walked out and just closed his eyes, and looked up towards the sky. It was as if he was soaking up the light of the day, and the warmth it provided. After standing there for a few minutes, a grin crawled across his face. He nodded to the others that he was ready to go. As they walked through the city, the three were given a mixture of looks. Some surprised, other hate, some, very few though, looked happy to see the three of them. Majority of those looks were directed at Naruto. Naruto noticed the looks, and he now knew what many of them meant. He had seen the hatred in the eyes before. Now it seemed stronger, almost as if he could feel their hatred towards him. He felt something else coming from some of the ninjas they passed. He couldn't explain it, but Hikari knew what it was. She had experienced it herself several times in the past, killing intent also known as bloodlust. She didn't tell Naruto this, she didn't want to worry him. She knew he was with two very strong and capable special Jonin, but the less Naruto knew about this feeling the better for now. She didn't think he could handle knowing what this feeling was just yet. She would teach him about it slowly, and she was sure the two with him would do the same. Walking in silence since they left the hospital, Anko was one who never liked silence, decided to try to start up a conversation. So I hear, brat, that you want to be a ninja. That's not a bad idea. It may be tough on you, but if you keep working at it, you should be able to do it. Heck, you might be able to take old Ibiki's job one day. He needs to retire. He is getting too old for his work. Ibiki only grunted to this. Since you want to be a ninja, then let's start dressing you like one. Who knows, maybe we can get you a starter set of shuriken and kunai for you to practice with. Naruto's eyes lit up at this, and nodded his head vigorously in agreement. He liked the sound of that. Ibiki nodded in agreement, and was starting to enjoy this. Seeing Naruto's face light, that gave him a good feeling, and made him more sure of what he wanted to do. He decided to get something else for Naruto to help with his training. Leaning over Naruto to talk to Anko, maybe we can get him some weights too. That way we can start building up his stamina, speed, and chakra reserves. It will also help his strength some, and hopefully build up some muscles on his body finally. With the last line he winked down at Naruto, who stuck his bottom lip out in a pout. Well, here we are at one of the best weapon shops in town, the Higarashis. Most smart ninjas get their weapons, and supplies for keeping the weapons maintained here. If they don't, then they are idiots. With that said, Ibiki opened the door for Anko and Naruto, then followed them into the store. Naruto's eyes went wide when he got in. All along the walls, and the aisles of the shops were weapons of all different shapes and sizes. There were kunai, shuriken, katanas, bow staves, kusregamas, yaris, and just about every other kind of weapon a ninja might use. He walked around the shop in a daze, just taking in the sight of all of the weapons. Naruto also noticed a part of the room that had a sign saying, weight suits, and weight training gear. When he passed that, he noticed a girl, about his age, behind the counter putting some combat knives, and kunai into a display. The girl had brown hair, and brown eyes. Her hair was down up into buns on the sides of her head. She wore a style of clothing Naruto had never seen before. She was wearing a pink sleeveless shirt. On the shoulders, there was a piece of fabric that wrapped up and down around her shoulders. The shirt seemed to have a piece that came across from her left-hand side, and buttoned up on the right-hand side of her body. She wore baggy black pants, and the traditional ninja style of sandals. She had a bright smile, and her skin was lightly tanned. She looked up from what she was doing and noticed Naruto looking in the display. Naruto himself was looking at a pair of shuriken that had caught his eye. They were black shuriken, with 6 points to it. The points started out wide, not much wider than Naruto's thumb. Then they narrowed down to about half that size as they went towards the center of the shuriken. In the middle was a hole that looked just big enough for a finger to fit through, or maybe a string of some sort. He noticed the name listed underneath as was, Hira Shuriken. He really liked how those looked. The girl decided to speak up, after seeing the boy in front of her stare at the shuriken for more than 5 minutes. Hi, my name is Tenten Higurashi, could I help you with anything? This seemed to snap Naruto out of his own dream world of using the shuriken in front of him. He went to say something, but suddenly remembered he had no voice to use. Remembering this, he hung his head, and took on a very disappointed look. This did not go without notice by a couple of people in the shop, one being Ibiki, and another being Tenten. Tenten thought she did something wrong at first on seeing the boy's dejected look. Ibiki walked up, and decided to help Naruto out some. Sorry about that, Tenten, he had an accident a few weeks ago, and it cost him his voice. So don't worry, you didn't do anything wrong. Tenten released a sigh of relief on hearing this. His name is Uzumaki Naruto, he is here with Anko and myself. We came to look for some shuriken and kunai, as well as holsters for them, for him to start practicing with. He want to join the ninja academy. Now Naruto, are there any shuriken or kunai that you like? Just point them out and we can get them for you, alright. Naruto nodded his head, his mood slightly better than as was seconds ago. He pointed at the Hira shuriken, and a set of flying kunai, designed mainly for throwing. He also pointed at a regular set of kunai. Tenten, do you have those in the training model? I wouldn't want Naruto here to cut himself up too much with them before he got the hang of them. Tenten nodded, and went into the back of the store to get the items. Oh yeah, could you get some holsters for them as well? Wouldn't do to have him running around without them, bellowed Ibiki before Tenten got too far away. While this was going on, Anko was busy talking with Tenten's father, Satomu Higurashi. Yeah, I'm not here for myself today, I'm here with Ibiki and the brat, Naruto. I was hoping to get him a training weight suit. So if ya don't mind, could you grab one about his size, and not too heavy, just a few pounds. I don't want to kill the kid right off the bat. Make sure it can be adjusted too, just in case he gets used to it quick. So toss in some free weights I can add in. Might as well make it a full body suit for now. Laughing, Satomu went into the weight corner and looked for the right thing. He was glad someone was finally trying to help out the Uzumaki boy. The kid deserved to be helped, and not beaten by people. If he didn't have his own family to worry about, he would have helped the kid out. But there have been some in the past who tried that, and their family was the target of numerous threats. Being a single father made him want to stay away from things that might hurt his daughters. After about 10 minutes he came back with the items needed. When asked how much, he just said, "Keep your money, this is all on the house. Consider it a present for Naruto, and we are even. Keep him out of trouble, and feel free to come back by when he needs something else." Before they left, Tenten called out, "I hope to see you again, Naruto. Be sure to come back when you are ready for the real kunai and shuriken." Naruto waved back to her, and nodded, letting her know he would be sure to do that. Anko thanks the man, and walked over to where Ibiki and Naruto were waiting. Ibiki led them out of the store, and to a clothing shop just down the street. When they entered, the shop owner didn't hold back a glare directed at Naruto. but noticing who Naruto was with quickly changed his mind. Welcome, how can I help you today? Nodding, Anko and Ibiki just led Naruto to the back of the store. Let's see now, any colors you like Naruto? Asked Ibiki. Naruto looked around the room, and saw a crimson color, that looked almost like the color of fire. It had orange and yellow mixed into the crimson, making it look like the cloth was set afire. Ibiki and Anko noticed what he was looking at, so Ibiki asked, Naruto, you want something in that color? Naruto almost nodded his head affirmative, until he thought of something else. He motioned for something to write on, and surprisingly Anko had a notepad handy, along with a pen. I was wondering about some black pants, like those over there. Here Naruto pointed at some black pants on the wall. They were called BDUs, or battle dress uniform. They came in all colors, but Naruto wanted the black ones. They had large pockets on the sides, that buttoned down, and some could be made to zip up. There was one on each pant leg. There were also large pockets on the seat of the pants, that could do the same thing. On the waist was an adjustable string, to tighten or loosen them depending on the person wearing them. The same thing could be done down at the ankle of the pants. The pants looked like they would be good tactical pants. Perfect for having to carry multiple items, either in the pockets, or in the pants that had built-in kunai, shuriken and scroll holsters. They could also be reinforced with a chain mesh, to make them a little more combat-ready, mostly to protect from shuriken and some kunai. I also like those jackets that are the same style, except maybe have them made to hold some kunai or shuriken on the arms. Then there are the red shirts, like the color I was looking at a minute ago, and sandals like the ones you guys have. Ibiki and Anko were both surprised that he was able to select clothes that would be comfortable, and still usable for combat if needed. The ones he selected would not hinder his movements, and would still offer good protection, and access to his tools when needed. There is something else. I want something put on the back of the jacket, that goes well with my last name, according to my Ne-chan. With that Naruto drew what he was shown by Hikari, a swirl, that looked like a small whirlpool, or a spiral. If you could, have the background in red, and the spiral lines in a silver thread. That was Naruto's idea, the colors at least. He wanted to have them look like the colors of Hikari's fur. Anko nodded, and grabbed several pairs of each, and handed them to their shopkeeper, along with the request to have them mesh reinforced, and the designs made on the jacket and shirt. Next Ibiki took Naruto to another part of the store to find him some undergarments, most likely boxers of some kind. Naruto ended up picking some with foxes on them. One pair was black, and had a red nine-tailed fox, another was blue with a fox that looked like it was made out of lightning. Another was red, with a silver eight-tailed fox. Ibiki picked a couple of each, and purchased them. By this time they had the clothes back, and a backpack, and a duffel bag for Naruto to use. Finally, having bought all of Naruto's clothes, and other things he may need for the trip, they decided to head back to the hospital to let Naruto get some more rest. They let him know they would be by in the morning to pick him up before going to the Hokage's office. Oh, and Naruto, do not travel around the village right now with any shuriken or kunai for now. I don't want you flaunting them around, or losing them. Besides from that, you should wait till you are signed into the academy to carry them around out in public, was the last thing Ibiki said before leaving with Anko. With those words, they departed, and went to pack their own items for the trip. Not long after they left, Naruto, unable to get to sleep, decided to head out of the hospital to try to sneak to the park. Naruto, you shouldn't be doing this, you really should get some sleep. You have a long trip ahead of you after all. I know, but I just want to enjoy the day some more. It's a nice day, nice and sunny, and hardly a cloud in the sky. Please. I won't stay out there for long, I promise. PPPPPLLLLL Leah Assi. After that Naruto mentally turned his puppy dog eyes, and pouting lips to his adopted sister to plead with her. Hikari couldn't help but cave into that look. She knew she was in for trouble in the future if he knew how effective that was on her.